everyone, welcome back. Felicia here. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you guys what I feel have been my top easiest to care for plants, and also the plants that have been a little bit difficult, giving me a little bit of trouble. Some of those plants, I don't have them anymore, but I thought I would share them with you anyways. I get a lot of questions from, family and friends who watch my videos, and occasionally from viewers, I'm not a plant parent. What are some easy to care for plants? Any plant that I touch, I kill. And I always tell them, anybody can take care of any plant if you have the right growing conditions. Now, while I strongly believe that is the case, there are plants that really do kind of give you some trouble. Now, before I start the video, I just want to put out a disclaimer that everything that I'm going to discuss, of course, it is my opinion and it's all relative. So what I may feel is easy to care for me may give you a little bit of a challenge. What I think is difficult, you may find it to be a breeze. So just keep that in mind while you're watching the video. All right, so let's start with the fun and the easy stuff. My first easy to care for plant is my Pothos plants. I have so many Pothos plants in my collection. I have two golden Pothos plants, one that's really, really long, a smaller one that's also growing. I have my neon Pothos, I have my Cebu blue. Pothos plants to me are just so easy to care for. While it does require some care, giving it the right amount of light, giving it the right amount of water, and then in the spring and summer, giving it the right amount of fertilizer. That plant, I strongly feel that anyone can take care of that plant. It has done so well in my care. I've also had a lot of success propagating that plant. I do have a neon Pothos propagation, and I also propagated a piece of my medium-sized golden Pothos plant. Once that plant grew roots, and I just stuck it right back in the same pot. So that plant has been thriving so much in my care, and therefore it is one of my favorite plants. Very easy to care for. So that is my first easy to care for plant. My next easy to care for plant for me is my ZZ plants. You probably see this one right here behind me. I have two of them about the same size. So I have my two regular ZZ plants, and then I also have a ZZ Raven. I remember when I first even learned about the ZZ Raven, when I saw it, I immediately scooped it up. I love the ZZ plant. If you're someone who's looking to become a plant parent or kind of get introduced to plants, then I strongly suggest the ZZ plant, even more so than the Pothos plant. But the ZZ plant, I probably water my ZZ plants. Mind you, at the time I'm filming this video, it is the middle of winter. I probably water my ZZ plants maybe once a month, if that. It's very much a set it and forget it type of plant. Now, while there are some plants like the ZZ plants and even snake plants that don't require a ton of light, just keep in mind, if you do give the plants some light, then that would encourage some growth. So just keep that in mind. Next up on my list of easy to care for plants is my Aloe Vera plant. The funny thing about my Aloe Vera is once I found the right location for that plant, then the growth just took off. I originally had that plant somewhat in a dark corner, and even though it was doing just fine in that dark corner, it wasn't really pushing out much growth. And then at one point I actually overwatered that plant, so it dropped maybe like 3 or 4 aloe leaves, and it was on the brink of no longer being a part of this family. And one summer I decided to just kind of stick it outside on my balcony. It received some direct sunlight for a few hours out of the day, and the growth just took off from there. Although they are pretty long, they're getting there. I find that the leaves are just a little bit narrow, so I would love to see that one kind of get a little bit of width to it. So that is easy to care for plant number 3. Now, in addition to those plants, I did want to call out a few honorable mentions. I did reference my snake plants earlier. If you ask any plant parent, what's an easy to care for plant? You'll more than likely hear snake plant, and you'll more than likely hear ZZ plant. Similar to the ZZ plant, the snake plant is very much a set it and forget it plant. It can do well in low light conditions. It does amazing in conditions where you do give it some light. And my snake plants, I have them in different lighting conditions. I have some that are much further away from the window. I have some that are right up against the window, some under my grow light, and each of them are doing just as well as the next one. So snake plants is definitely a plant I would suggest for someone who wants to kind of get into owning some plants of their own. Another honorable mention is my aglaonema plant or Chinese evergreen. Those plants are pretty easy to care for as well. They do require a little bit more care, in my opinion, than some of the other plants that I mentioned, but all of my aglaonemas right now, I believe I just have 2. My aglaonemas, they have both done so well. One of them I have it sitting underneath my grow light. One of them is pretty adjacent to my plant stand, and they're both doing amazing. Aglaonemas have such beautiful varying varieties of plants. That's one I would definitely recommend. My last honorable mention is Ahoya carnosa compacta. The Hoya rope is such a beautiful plant, and while it does look like it could be a bit of a challenge, it's actually pretty easy to care for. Now, they are really slow growers, so don't think you're gonna get the plant and it's just gonna take off with growth. They do take their time, but they're such beautiful plants. I found my larger Hoya rope at Williams Nursery here in New Jersey, and my small one, I just got it from Amazon. So you can find them online, you can find them in your local nurseries. I water it about maybe once a month. I just kind of take my spray and I just sprayed through each of the leaves just to kind of keep it dust-free and pest-free. So those are all the easy to care for plants I wanted to share. Now let's jump into the difficult plants. I actually hate to say difficult plants. Let's just call them the plants that gave me a little bit of trouble. They just were a challenge for me. One of them I still have it in my care because I'm determined to move that on over to the easy to care for list, but the others, I just had to get rid of them because they just weren't doing well in my care. I'm gonna start with this Dieffenbachia plant. That plant, when I first bought it, beautiful plant, full plant. I had the perfect plant pot for it. And then over time, I just noticed that that plant just started to deteriorate. It just started dropping and yellowing leaves like crazy. As the plant started shrinking, you know, yellowing leaves, so I would take them off, I decided to transfer it from soil to leca. That was a huge fail. I believe I have a video, and I'll insert it here, of me attempting to do leca. That was a fail because, one, I don't think that Dieffenbachia plant is the best candidate for leca, in my opinion. And two, the plant just, it could have been a case of root rot. I don't know. The plant just was not doing well in my care. So unfortunately, I had to get rid of it. Once it went into leca, the plant was like, okay, girl, I don't know what you're trying to do here, but I'm done. So I got rid of that plant. Another plant that I have on my difficult to care for plants for me is my string of pearls. I say my string of pearls as if I still have it. I don't have it anymore. I attempted to have string of pearl plants in my collection twice. I got it the first time. It was so beautiful initially, and then all of a sudden the little pearls, the little balls just started drying out, and then eventually the entire plant just looked like, it just looked like I was watering dirt at that point. So got rid of it. Went out and got another one. This one is a little bit more full, and they were both pretty small. I don't mind purchasing small plants because for me, the joy in being a plant parent is watching the plant grow. In both instances, I was giving the plants enough light. They were sitting right under my grow light, but they just didn't do well for me. I just haven't quite figured it out. The next plant on my list of kind of difficult to care for plants are Alocasias. At one point, I had two beautiful Alocasia plants in my collection. I had an Alocasia poly. I had to get rid of that one because it kept yellowing the leaves. At one point, I had it under control, but then it got a case of spider mites, so I had to kind of sanction it away from the rest of my plants, and because of that, I had to remove it away from my grow lights, and as a result, the leaves started to yellow. So eventually I just kind of gave it away. The next Alocasia plant I have in my collection is my beautiful Alocasia Sabrina. In my last plant tour video, I showed that Sabrina plant, and a couple of you guys reached out and said it was such a beautiful plant. You put it in your plant collection, and it is a beautiful plant, but right now, my Alocasia Sabrina went from full, beautiful 5-6 leaf plant to now 2. And I think it could possibly be a result of the weather. It could be that I had it in a very low light area of my home. It wasn't directly by my grow lights. It also wasn't close to the window. So I think it's very much my fault why that plant is looking the way it's looking right now. I'm just thankful it still even has those 2 leaves. I remember over the holidays, the largest leaf that I had left on that plant dropped off, and here's a photo of that leaf. It's just such a beautiful plant, and the thing that attracted me to that plant was the stem, not even really the leaf, but the stem. I'm hoping that I can bring that plant back to life. Right now, I did reposition it in my home, so I have it a little bit closer to my window and also a little bit closer to my grow lights. So I'm hoping that additional light would help bring it back to life. I don't anticipate it really doing much right now. Again, it is the winter time, so I'm hoping by about spring, summer, that plant will wake back up and give me some new shoots. So we'll see. All right, everyone, those are all the plants that I consider my easy to care for plants, and also the plants that's kind of given me a little bit of trouble. Because it's relative, again, like I said at the top of the video, what's easy for you may be difficult to me and vice versa. It's always interesting hearing other people's perspectives and other people's insight on the types of plants that give them trouble and then the ones that are easier for them. So let's have a dialogue about it in the comments. If not, I will see you in the next video. Bye.